I'm Carmen. I'm sitting on the floor of my ransacked apartment, surrounded by chaos. The once cozy living room is in shambles, with cushions scattered, books strewn across the floor, and drawers emptied. A single sheet of paper lies on the coffee table, and as I read the words on it again, my heart aches. Dear Carmen, forgive me for the deception. The money was never yours to keep. It belonged to people who would never have left you in peace. I returned it to them. I promised them you never touched a single bill. You're safe now. Please believe me when I say I love you. I never lied about that. I'll explain everything soon. Yours always, Ethan. Ethan. Just the thought of his name makes my stomach churn. How could I have been so blind? I remember the first time I saw him. It was a Thursday evening, and I was at the neighborhood supermarket on my way home from work. I was tired, just wanting to get home and unwind. I had my shopping bag looped over my arm and my phone in my hand, ready to call a ride share. Suddenly, a blur of motion swept past me, and my phone was snatched from my hand. I was frozen in shock, my heart pounding. But then, a tall man in a leather jacket bolted after the thief. He was fast and decisive. In seconds, he caught up with the thief, seized him by the collar, and twisted his arm until the phone slipped free. He turned to me, breathless but smiling, and held out my phone. "This yours?" he asked. I was so shaken. My voice trembled as I thanked him. He chuckled and said, "You should hold on to it a little tighter next time. This city doesn't forgive carelessness." Then, he suggested we go for a cup of coffee at a nearby cafe. I was hesitant at first. I had built walls around my heart after past betrayals. But there was something about him, the steadiness in his gaze and the calm in his voice, that made me pause. So I agreed. At the cafe, he was attentive. He ordered not only coffee but also pastries and sandwiches, saying he wasn't sure what I liked. We started talking, and the conversation quickly deepened. He told me about moving to Los Angeles after a failed marriage and working in logistics for a friend's company. I found myself sharing more than I intended about my work as a designer and my love-hate relationship with the city. As the days passed, Ethan became a steady presence in my life. He remembered the smallest details about me. When I mentioned I hated mornings without coffee, he showed up at my office the next day with my favorite order. When my car battery died, he was there within minutes. We went on dinners, movie nights, and long walks along the Santa Monica Pier. Slowly, he made me believe in love again. One evening, after he cooked dinner for me, the pasta was a bit overcooked, but the effort touched me. He got down on one knee and proposed. I was overwhelmed. I never expected it so soon, but I said yes. But later that night, as I looked at the diamond ring on my finger, my gaze drifted to the closet. Behind that closed door, hidden beneath boxes and coats, was a briefcase. A briefcase that had been haunting me for months. It all started on an unusually quiet evening in West Hollywood. I had been working long hours at the design studio, and I was looking forward to some peace. I was about to pour myself a glass of water when the doorbell rang. I was annoyed. I never liked unexpected visits. When I looked through the peephole, I saw Jake. It had been years since I last saw him. He was my ex-fiancé, the man who had left me for a better career opportunity. He had married the daughter of a powerful producer. Now, he stood on my doorstep with a huge bouquet of red roses. I opened the door reluctantly. He tried to charm me, but I was cold. I reminded him of his betrayal. He claimed his parents had pushed him into it, that his mother's health was fragile, and if he had gone against them, it would have broken her. I scoffed at his excuses. Just as he was about to leave, he pulled out a sleek black briefcase from behind his back. He asked me to hold it for a few days, saying he had too many errands and no one else he could trust. I didn't want it, but there was something in his eyes, a look of desperation. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Jake never came back for the briefcase. It just sat in the corner of my living room, gathering dust. I tried to forget about it, burying myself in work. Then, during a business trip downtown, I ran into an old acquaintance. When I asked about Jake, she told me he was dead. He had gotten involved in shady financial schemes and ended up on the wrong side of dangerous people. The next day, Out of curiosity, I visited his ex-wife's mother in a nursing home. The old woman told me about Jake's downfall. He had thought he was clever, but he had entangled himself with financial predators who didn't forgive mistakes. As I drove back home, I realized that the briefcase was likely the reason for his death. When I got home, I knew I couldn't avoid it any longer. I pulled out the briefcase and used an old rotary tool to open it. Inside were stacks of US dollars, bundles upon bundles, filling the case completely. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. Calling the police seemed like a bad idea. They might suspect me. Keeping the money was even more dangerous. The people it belonged to would come looking for it. And then there was Ethan. I had never told him about Jake, the briefcase, or the money. I was afraid it would ruin our relationship. I had planned to tell him that night, after dinner. But when I got home, I found my apartment in ruins, and the briefcase was gone. Now, as I sit here, Ethan is at the door, asking for a chance to explain. He says he was sent to find the briefcase because he owed money to dangerous people. But he claims he fell in love with me the moment he saw me. He says he staged the phone, snatching to get close to me, but his feelings for me were real. I'm torn. A part of me wants to believe him, to let his words mend what has been broken. But the betrayal is too fresh. I tell him I need time, space. I don't know if I can ever forgive him. As he leaves, I'm left alone with my thoughts. I realize that secrets and lies, no matter how well intentioned, can destroy everything. I wonder if love can survive when it's born from lies. And I know that I need honesty, from him and for myself, if there's any hope for the future. The silence in my apartment is heavy. I look at the diamond ring on my finger, and it seems to mock me now. I don't know if I'll ever see Ethan again, but I do know that I've learned a painful lesson about trust and the cost of secrets.